Okay, now I'm going to work a problem from Chapter 7, Section F2 exercises, that is the practice exercises. Here, instead of looking for logical equivalence, now I'm looking to see whether the statements are contradictory, consistent, or inconsistent. So let's just think about what those terms mean. Consistent just means they could both be true. Like when we're dealing with two statements, we're asking whether they could both be true. Same thing for 3 or 4, though. To say they're inconsistent simply means there's never a row where all the statements are true. Right? That doesn't mean, however, that they have opposite truth values. It could be the case that sometimes they're both false, for example. Contradictory, though, means not only is there no row where they're all true, but in fact, they always have opposite truth values. So we have two statements that are going to be contradictory if whenever one of them is true, the other one is false. Okay? So consistent, there's one row where you see t's for the main operator. Inconsistent means there's no row where you see t's for the main operator, but they're not always opposite truth values. And then contradictory means, yeah, when you look at it, you see whenever one of them is true, the other one's false. Right? So it probably helps to try to work some problems to apply those concepts to really master them. So let's just work through a few problems here. I'm just going to start here with problem number 1 in the set. This one says to compare not P and Q with not Q and P. Okay. So let's just work out the truth table. I have a P, I have a Q, right? I need 4 rows. I'm glad for these. Actually, we don't have so far a lot of simple statements to make this truth table gigantic. We have enough to worry about as it is. But I'm going to go ahead and just write out my not P and Q, right? And my not Q and P. Okay. Now let me just fill in the truth values for the P's and the Q's here. So true, true, false, false. So let's go ahead and do it for all the P's. True, true, false, false, true, true, false, false. Now to the Q's. True, false, true, false, true, false, true, false, true, false, true, false. And again, you don't have to do all this in the exercises, which I hope you appreciate, but nevertheless, I think it's helpful to see how it's done. Okay, so now I need to do this statement right here. I have a choice between tilde and the dot. Tilde always comes first, so I'll just have the opposite of the P here. False, false, true, true. And now I need to compare what I see under the tilde with Q. And again, for dot, I need to see both of them are true to put a true under the dot. So false and true is going to give me false. False and true is going to give me false. True and true is going to give me true. And true and false is going to give me false. There's only one row where that's true. Right? Again, I'll circle my main operator. You just select it. Same choice over here between tilde and dot, so I do the same thing. False, true, false, true. Now again, I'm looking for the same thing. I'm looking to see if the tilde is true and the P is true. So false and true gives me false. True and true gives me true. False and false gives me false. And true and false gives me false as well. Circle that. Now let's compare these rows. On row 1, I see a false and I see a false. Okay, so they're not contradictory. Right, for contradictory, I have to see always opposite truth values. So I can rule out contradiction here. But now I need to see if they're ever consistent, in other words, or if they are consistent, which means, do I ever see a row where both are true? This is false here, so no. That's false there, so no. And they're both false there, so no. So these are inconsistent. They're never both true. They're not contradictory because here they're both false. Same thing here. But they are inconsistent. They're never both true. Okay, let's wrap this one up and move on to another.